With the global war on climate change taking unprecedented strides, achieving net zero emissions remains the number one priority in most countries. This has been marked by several shifts in national policies when it comes to energy transition, conservation, and investment. The United States, for example, recently passed the Climate Bill, which seeks to allow more than $300 billion in climate and energy spending. France has approved a new law that will require all new commercial buildings to at least partially cover rooftops in plans of solar panels. The government of Spain, on the other hand, has declared that businesses will not be allowed to run their air conditioning below 27 degrees Celsius to cut down on energy use. India recently passed the Energy Conservation Amendment Bill on 8th of August 2022.
Energy conservation or energy efficiency might be one of the most important factors going forward in India's sustainable growth.
Among other things, the bill seeks to mandate the use of non-fossil fuel sources, establish carbon markets, create additional carbon sinks, promote energy efficiency and conservation, and provide regulation for energy consumption. While adoption of alternative energy sources and electric vehicles is quickly taking center stage, there are several energy efficiency projects silently running in the background, creating a huge impact and helping industries adopt carbon reducing technologies at a much larger and faster pace.
This single contract gets us 290,000 tons of the 29 million that we want to reduce before 2030.
Smart Joules, an energy efficiency company based in Delhi, was founded in 2014 to address this very need to eliminate energy waste. In 2021, Smart Joules created history partnering with one of the largest hospital chains in the country, Apollo Hospitals, paving the way to realizing their mission to eliminate 29 million tons of carbon from the atmosphere by 2030. In the last decade, several large corporations have taken steps to incorporate sustainable measures into their company's operations. Apollo Hospitals first started thinking on those lines 3 years back when they launched an organization-wide initiative called WOW, or War on Waste. So as part of this war on waste, they identified energy as one of the major areas where they could meet the sustainability goals as well as save monetarily.
See, it's a common knowledge that the healthcare facilities, especially the tertiary care hospitals such as ours, are real energy guzzlers when it comes to power consumption. With a lot of medical equipment and associated utility equipment, energy consumption is one of the major expenditure area for us. The primary objective is to reduce the energy footprint, thereby reduce the expenditure, thereby having a better and more efficient operations. Because money saved, paisa saved can be always put into use for something else, which is more beneficial. In our case, our focus is on the patient services. So we would like to extend that benefit to our customers who are the patients and patient relatives.
Smart Joules by this point had already worked with 2 Apollo hospitals, Apollo Ahmedabad and Kolkata, and shown immense success in bringing down their energy consumption. Apollo Ahmedabad even won the Golden Peacock Award for their efforts in reducing energy consumption, while Kolkata won the Green Building Award from among 600 plus nominations in 2021.
Our first contract with Apollo Group was done in 2018. The group got confidence in our abilities over the next 2 years. In about the winter of 2020, actually the summer of 2020, we started engaging with the central team in Apollo Hospitals, the corporate team in Apollo Hospitals. There was one gentleman who was the head of strategy, vice president of strategy for the Apollo Group. His name was Mr. Sriram. He found out that we were doing excellent work and just reached out to me, he called me and said, Arjun, we heard that you're doing this good work. Smart Joules is working really well and Apollo, Ahmedabad and Calcutta are reaping the benefits. So we would be interested in exploring a similar relationship across a larger set of facilities.
When Apollo's new and ambitious War on Waste program met with the proven success of Smart Joules' team, it was a no-brainer for the central team to partner with Smart Joules to bring down their energy consumption in more than 20 of their facilities across the country.
So for any energy efficiency project, you require champions. You require people who believe in the solution. You require people who are forward thinking, who think about possibilities rather than problems. So we were very lucky to have two such chief engineers in our first two Apollo hospitals. One was Mr. Jatin Pandya in Apollo Ahmedabad, and the other one is Mr. Krishnendu Bose in Apollo Calcutta. The beauty of these two people actually extends a lot beyond their willingness to take a chance and for their own facilities. They were very vocal about the success that they experienced in their facilities and shared their learnings and their experience with other people in Apollo Group. They were very proud of the achievements that they had made by introducing smart Joules and our solutions into their facilities. And because they shared their learnings across the group, other people also got interested. That's how we started talking to the central team in Apollo, and they took feedback from these two facilities on what is the quality of operations, what are the types of benefits that are being experienced in these two hospitals, and then started a process of deep discussions around multiple facilities across the group.
Out of 60 plus hospitals across India, the management team of Apollo and Smart Joules together shortlisted about 20 hospitals on which they would focus their efforts and try to replicate the success they experienced in Ahmedabad and Kolkata. In the discussions that followed, Smart Joules identified various opportunities to eliminate energy waste and bring massive monetary gains to Apollo. The first and most glaring opportunity was solving for the gaps in the way the systems were designed in these facilities.
When you design, you have limited information about how the facility is actually going to use this infrastructure. So you have to make a lot of assumptions which play into the design. So when we come into any facility, we have the benefit of operating data. We can see how these systems are behaving, what are the actual requirements of the facilities, and it allows us to improve the way their facilities are designed.
Not only do these assumptions play in the design, but also in the selection of equipment. When first designing a facility, it is not certain as to what loading levels the equipment is going to run at or what the operating patterns would be. These assumptions play into the design of selecting the equipment, which doesn't turn out to be the best suited for the operations. Therefore, it would not have been the most energy efficient option for the facility. Also, most of these facilities were running on older equipment which had naturally become less efficient over time.
After the Smart Joule entered the contract with Apollo, they have taken very good initiatives. In principle, like what we had already had the mind in changing the old equipments to go with PFDs, pumps and cooling towers. The time which we were in the running hospital is very difficult thing to incorporate new things, since it is not a green building, it's a brown building, and we have to struggle many things. But we do hope that Smart Joule has smoothly traveled with our coordination. They have done a very good installation of two AC plants.
The next area Smart Joules identified as an opportunity to save was the manually driven operations.
A building is a very dynamic sort of a system. The loads of air conditioning, the requirement of hot water, the requirement of lighting, ventilation, they're always changing as per the occupancy levels, as per the weather conditions. So when we rely a lot on human beings to operate these systems, we miss out an opportunity to really fine-tune the system in sync with the changing requirements of the facility.
We found that in Apollo hospitals, a lot of these energy consuming systems were manually operated, and the decisions on how they should be operated were made with the very limited data available and very little instrumentation that allowed us to understand how each of this equipment was performing. Since Smart Joules offers a pay-as-you-save business model, Apollo hospitals did not have to invest in any capital expenditure for the new equipment, manpower, or the automation of their systems. Instead, Apollo had only to share part of the savings accrued due to their very intervention.
Smart Joule is the perfect partner for us to implement this program and sustain it. Because the very business model which they have proposed is great, and it is what we were looking at, we were looking for.
Once the areas of opportunities for energy savings were identified and the decision was made to work together, an energy services performance contract was designed in a way to maximize the likelihood of long-term success of the project and the people involved.
Apollo Hospitals was very interested in having a long-term contract, because a long-term contract gives them a couple of things. One is that it gives them assurance on quality and performance over a longer duration rather than a shorter duration. Second is longer term durations allowed Apollo hospitals to benefit with a greater percentage of the benefit that is accruing on an annual basis.
After much discussion, the term of the contract was decided to be 10 years starting September of 2021.
So the first very important thing to agree upon is how long is the contract going to be. The second very important consideration is whatever benefit accrues. Suppose we save 100 units of energy which cost 1,000 rupees. How is that benefit of 1,000 rupees in energy cost saved going to be shared between Smart Joules and with Apollo hospitals?
An important consideration while designing the contract was the provision of adjustments. This is important because the use, nature, and size of the facility may change over the period of the contract. No hospital the size of Apollo would remain the same in 10 years. Maybe the hospital may decide to invest in an MRI machine, which is a heavy energy consuming equipment, or they may even decide to construct an entirely new floor. Having had more than 6 years of operating history, Smart Joules team was very familiar with the changes that may come in any facility over a period of time, and made the adjustment methodology in the contract very plain, simple, and clear.
The other one, which is extremely important and which is a foundational principle of any energy saving performance contract, is the baseline, which is basically how much is the current energy consumption level of the facilities that are under this contract. And when we implement a lot of energy conservation measures and we have made all the improvements that we want to do, what are we going to compare against to show that we have saved X amount of energy? So the baseline setting and the method of verifying on a monthly basis how much energy is being saved. This is fundamental to capture very clearly in the contract.
So finally, a contract of 10 years guaranteeing 20% of overall reduction in annual energy consumption was signed between Smart Joules and Apollo hospitals.
The Apollo hospitals that are covered under this single contract currently consume more than 100 crores worth of energy every year. The first guaranteed outcome of this contract from Smart Joules is that we would reduce this consumption by at least 20%. That 20% savings, as I mentioned, translates into more than 20 crores worth of in cost, translates to more than 300 million kilowatt hours saved over a period of 10 years, which is obviously more than 200 crores worth, and more than 290,000 tons of carbon impact.
All forward-thinking organizations of today care about their carbon footprint and how their operations are impacting the environment.
Ultimately, we also benefit and society, we also give back society and society also at large benefits.
Once the contract was signed, Smart Joules got to work. A list of more than 235 ECMs, or energy conservation measures, were created to be implemented across the sites within just 4 months of signing the contract. And we are constantly designing new ones as we progress, with the number standing at more than 300 till date.
The most commonly ECM that we do for our projects is the replacing of chiller, which we call the heart of the whole HVAC systems. And it is a maximum power consuming piece of equipment. So that's what we always try to ensure, that this particular piece of equipment always working in the most efficient manner.
The journey of each ECM starts with choosing the right equipment for the unique conditions and requirements of each site.
So the first thing starts with right sizing of the equipment. Second part obviously talks about how these equipments are measured in terms of their performance on a regular basis, regular interval. Third part is that, whether these equipments are operated onto their maximum efficiency zone or not, and at the same time, the right kind of maintenance that needs to be done for these particular ECMs.
The basis of qualification for any ECM is simple: comparing the investment put into it versus the amount of savings received. The return on investment has to be achieved within the contract period for the project to be successful.
Now, having said that, the financial part is one. Second thing, the complexity, how complex the system is. And third part is that how easily you can put those initiative onto the sites to perform energy saving.
But that's not all. The equipment selection goes through a series of robust RAM analysis to determine its reliability, as these systems are vital equipment in any hospital, and dependability on these equipment would be the number one criteria of selection. A series of market surveys also follows to understand the reputation of the particular system in the market, how long it has sustained, and its quality of post-sales customer and spare parts services.
And at the same time, we always look for something like a maintenance-free design actually on that, so that the systems are put. It is like if you're putting a fan, you don't need any kind of maintenance until it gets broken down. Actually, only the cleaning part is needed actually on that. So those are our concepts.
Many sites in Apollo were using an air-cooled system, and it was identified that they would reap a lot more benefits if they switched to a water-cooled system instead. As we needed to follow the policy of zero discharge in these facilities and could not allow any discharge from these facilities to the municipal drain, the water from these systems would need to be recycled and reused.
So what we have done, we had the water of STPs. We ensure that STPs, sewage treatment plants are working well. Ensure their water quality are the standards of HVAC uses. We made them and we started working, converted them into water cooled systems. So there is energy benefits. The excess water, whatever that should have been drained, going to the municipal drain, is being utilized, and the energy efficiency, as I said, it is already coming. So this is a very, very difficult problem that we thought that it is more than energy, it's more of an environmental kind of drive that we always encourage our energy partners to do that.
A common need in all of these sites was to have a powerful building management system that could provide real-time data of the performance of each equipment.
So the first line of ECNs that came obviously that is for our building management system. So that is our own proprietary software hardware that we have. That's called Joules. So that is the one thing that we should have a complete know of the systems, putting IoT-based systems to the buildings. What is the energy consumption going on? What is the load on this? The load on this different time. The energy know of the whole buildings actually. That is the first thing that we do. Across all the sites.
Joules is Smart Joules' continuous energy optimization technology to track and control energy-intensive equipment in real time and automatically correct for energy efficiencies using data.
The first and important card or data that a user sees on the dashboard is the savings that has been achieved on a particular site based on the historical data consumption, followed by the current load on the facility, the electrical consumption statistics on a daily, monthly and weekly frequencies according to the user requirement. The user can also go to separate asset page where the user can see different parameters associated with that particular asset. For example, chiller. So all the parameters associated with chiller, the on-off status, the temperature, return and supply temperature, everything is being displayed on this separate asset page. So these actions or commands can be to optimize the plant room operations or can give insight related to a maintenance aspect so that corrective actions can be taken based on a data-driven approach, as well as these commands can ensure thermal quality of the operations and ensure that the occupants inside the building are thermally comfortable.
Smart Joules believes that energy efficiency is not a one-time activity, and their philosophy is to continuously optimize the building energy performance through a data-driven approach with the help of IoT-enabled Joules. Through the intervention of Joules alone, Smart Joules has been able to achieve a total of 8 to 9% of energy savings at any facility. Along with selection and installation of the best and latest energy-efficient equipment, bringing monthly savings and installing Joules at each site, Smart Joules conducts periodic training sessions for the client's team and keeps track of maintenance on a periodic basis, sending monthly reports to the client management team.
So this is a part and parcel of our journey, because without taking the team along, I think it is very, very difficult to complete the journey of energy excellence, I would say. We also have a broader view of their maintenance of this whole process that is going on. So time and again we are telling them, okay, look at this is the conditions that needs to be maintained, else you'll be losing energy that around. So that is being communicated every month on day-to-day and on a communication formats on monthly basis, and also one of our representatives are also already there on this sites. So that particular case, there is a continuous communication is going on actually on that.
It was an interesting journey, I would say, with Smart Joules, because every step we take as a ECM is a challenge here, and it is quite interesting to complete a job when there is a challenge. We expect a better tomorrow with SJPL in Apollo, not only in Apollo Hospital, wherever SJPL goes, energy conservation will be there, and ultimately leads to the better world.
Smart Joules also helps hospitals get the recognition it deserves and applies for various energy efficiency awards and certifications for the effort the clients put into taking this step towards a greener future.
I would say that Smart Joule is definitely the best thing which could happen in this entire journey. It's a journey, of course. The thing is, it is a long relationship. We also know that whatever we do today, unless otherwise it is sustained, we cannot reach the goal of doing something on the energy front, as well as giving back something to the society.
Smart Joules, smart people, they are really aligned with our thoughts also. So whatever we say, they grasp the ideas behind that, and they have implemented the things.
I remember the moment we signed this contract with Apollo, there was an instant feeling of extreme joy and success and hope, mixed with a little bit of trepidation. How are we going to execute much higher volume altogether than we have been doing in the last 5 years cumulatively? Altogether, with one contract, we were really taking a huge leap in our growth journey. This had been a moment that we had been preparing ourselves for a long period of time. This was always something that we were setting ourselves up to do. It took a long time to get it signed, but by the end of it, we had something that was solid, that we had confidence is going to succeed over 10 years. And which sets a precedent in the market for how energy performance contracting can be done at scale, how energy can be saved in an organization, throughout the organization, without the organization taking a risk, making an investment, or investing in any capability development, all being done by an expert company that already has this.
This project has paved a way for all companies to capitalize on that one weapon which they can use to profitably decarbonise with no risk and no capital investment. It is a matter of extreme joy and excitement that Smart Joules, a company born out of one of the most polluted cities in the world, has established that a greener tomorrow is possible and does not have to mean cutting costs, but rather gaining capital through doing the right thing.